I was finally able to get royal rares of each of the Link Charmers. So to celebrate, I wanted to share my take on the Charmer deck. Here is how I see this. If I'm going to play Master Duel for a few hours every day, I might as well try to get royals of generic cards. But you know, that's just me. Anyways, the plan here is to go second, and steal our opponent's monsters so we can OTK them. I have seen people play a Sky Striker engine to use Widow Anchor to steal monsters, but I found that it wasn't really needed. Another thing I have seen people play is a small Mikanko engine, but I feel like at that point, I would just play Mikanko and have the Charmers in my extra deck. If you're interested, you can check out my video on Mikanko, and I'll leave the link in the description below. I don't really like Ashe in this deck since we need cards that can do more than just negate one effect. I do play 2 Cloud Buys, but it's mostly for Duel and Lockbird, and sometimes Maxi. Depending on what you play against, you can play around with the ratios of Kurikaras, Bystials, Mind Control, and of course, Red Reboot. In my experience, I have been seeing many Purrely and Labrynth decks. So we will go over some of my Master Rank replays from last season against Floowandereeze, Kashtira Swordsoul, and Naturia Runick. Then, if you still want to see additional examples, I will have bonus replays against Purrely and Labrynth. So let's get started. I never really understood why Floo players love this deck so much. So much that you'd make your IGN into Floo. I think it's similar to Purrely, where at this current state, it's very much a gamble deck. So even though we opened with a dead Maxi in hand, we also have access to Kaijus and our adventure cards. So we just need to find a way to get rid of their trap card with either Duster or Red Reboot. Another thing I don't really understand is why people are still on Floo. I can't believe Konami thinks it's fine to ban Block Dragon, but not Robina and M-Pen. So now they're just summoning cards that don't really do anything to end on an M-Pen and then set 2 cards. Because our deck is just better, we drew into Duster, so let's punish them for wasting our time. Again, they're gonna summon some stuff, but it doesn't really matter because we can Kaiju away whatever they summon. So let's just fast forward it. So 5 minutes later, they finally summon their Apex Avian. But we will just toss it into the grave by tributing over it with a Kaiju. With Avian gone, now we can do our standard adventure lines. We start with Right to summon a token, and now we can activate Faithful Adventure. Summon Illegal Knight to add Draco back to our hand. Activate Faithful to add Griffin, and then we can equip it to our token. Now we can bounce back Gameciel, tribute over their M-Pen. We summon Griffin, and summon Area. Now we link into Winda, and then we can bring back their wind monster in the grave, which is Apex Avian. Link Winda and the Knight into Celine. Celine will gain spell counters, and then this will allow us to summon back Area from our grave. Then we just link into access code, and then they run away. I wasn't really expecting much. Here we are going second against Swordsoul Kashtira. In their standby, I use Maxi, but then it gets negated with Called By. Of course, they open by special summoning Fenrir and then using it to add Rise Heart to their hand. Rise Heart then summons itself, and then banishes 3 cards from my deck to become level 7. Then they overlay into Shangri-Ira. So here's the thing when you're playing ranked. During their turn, we only see them use 2 cards from their opening hand, Called By and Fenrir. So when they pass without setting anything, we know that their hand is full of hand traps or triple tactics talent. Aside from Fenrir, I don't really think that Kashtira cards are very good at this point, but this will all change when a Rise Heart is released. So I will happily play into Nibiru on my turn, since my deck is just better. But in this specific situation, do as I say and not what I do. I do think it's important to believe in the deck that you're piloting. So we will just win even if they, which they will, Nibiru on my turn. So now we have a huge token on our board, and they have a Nibiru, so they can't special summon their Kashtira monsters. And like I planned, I drew Change of Heart, so we just steal the Nibiru, and then we attack for game. Wasn't that easy? We are going second against Naturia Runick. They start with Golden Droplet to summon Hugin, and then we chain Maxi. Our Maxi finally resolves since we are the better player, and then this will draw us into our adventure engine. If you only play good cards, you'll just draw them. They activate Fountain, normal Camellia, and then they just pass. First we summon Fenrir to bait things out. Now Fountain gets to shuffle 3 cards from their grave to their deck and then draw 3 cards. We activate Fateful and summon Gamma-Seal. This lets us add Draco back to our hand. Fateful now adds and discards Enchantress. Banish Enchantress to add Right to our hand. Now we use Right to summon the Adventure token. So far they haven't used any Runick spells, but we will just bounce back Fountain just in case. Activate Awakening, and now we steal Hugin. And now we link into Alsa. Mole Cricket summoned itself, and we use Awakening to draw into Magnemite. Summon back Camellia, and then we banish Hugin to summon Magnemite. Cricket tributes itself to summon 2 Naturias from their deck. On summon, Camellia triggers, and then we use Kurikara to just tribute it away. This game has been over for a while, and they finally leave. So let me know what you think of this going second deck. It is very similar to Mikanko, but much easier to play. As promised, I have 2 bonus replays if you want to check them out. I hope you learned something from this video. Until next time.